All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the recap. This is the PLE King and Queen of the Ring edition of the recap. Michael D'Angelo, Big D, Daryl Ortiz. The show just wrapped literally about, I don't know, a couple of minutes ago, we'll say.
Yeah,
So, Big
minutes,
D,
yeah.
what's your, we'll start with thoughts, overall thoughts. How'd you feel about it?
A little bit of. I don't even want to say disappointment. I'm not like really disappointed. I'm just, there's a couple things I just feel a little blah about because we can talk more about those as we go into the matches. I think overall, as an overall PLE, it was fun to watch. It had its moments. It had its highlights and all that good stuff. So I guess overall, just a decent PLE. Nothing to rave home about. I feel definitely could have been better.
Well, I agree. Like it felt a little flat to me. I wasn't super happy with it, and I will say I think my picks were completely blown up on the lead up to this too.
I think so.
just because I had originally said Gunther, and then like an idiot, I decided, you know what? Let me just go something out there. I think the finals for the men's is going to be Tama Tonga and Jay, and both of them lost.
Well, you
both
had
of them
a
lost in
theory
the
and
lead up to
everything.
it. I know. I had a whole shebang, and none of that played out. So our finals were Randy Orton versus Gunther. And then on the women's side, I had said it was going to be Bianca Belair and Io Sky, and it was neither of those either. It was Nia Jax versus Illyria Valkyria. So, even heading into it, I was a little like, this is kind of a mixed bag, and I wasn't thrilled with it. It had some good moments, and then it had some like head scratches for me.
Yeah.
But we'll jump right into it. I think the first match, and this is funny because the first match was I want to say it was on technically the pre-show because they were still counting down towards the time
the
for King of
countdown.
The Ring.
We don't call it pre-show. We call it
It was the
countdown.
countdown show. Special. The countdown show. Yeah, I want to make sure I'm getting all the lingo right. Was Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair defending their tag titles against Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. And I probably should have seen this coming because I noticed a few weeks ago on the official poster for this event, they had Cody Rhodes, Logan Paul holding their championship titles. They had Sami Zayn, and then they had Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill holding their titles. And I was like, why are they showcasing them? They're not defending their titles. And then all of a sudden they both lost, and then it got eliminated from the Queen of the Ring tournament. And then they were both defending, and that's what they started off here. So this is the first match of the night. And this was pretty obvious. They weren't going to lose their titles on like the countdown show.
Well,
this
not just that, but also to Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. They're not going to lose to them.
Yeah, they're not. Like, it was pretty obvious. It was fine. So I'm going to say this match was exactly what it was. It was fine. It was like get the crowd warmed up. They had that closing sequence with Jade and Bianca doing the double team moves to close out.
That was a nice one.
It was a nice one, but then I lost it a little bit because Jade was trying to jump back up to her feet, and then she was in the way of Bianca, and Bianca had to kind of shove her out of the way, so she kind of jumped and fell to the ground, and then she pushed her out of the way so she could get the pinfall. So the ending of that sequence was a little awkward. It was fine, though. It was what it was.
I mean, it was a pre-show match. I mean, at least it had some stakes, right? Like, kind of make you feel a little more like something's gonna happen, potential of a title change, whatever. Of course, we knew, like you said, they're not going to drop their titles. Not on a pre-show. If they do, it have to be like a big PLE or like a big episode of Raw or SmackDown, whatever they decide to lose them on. But overall, it was okay. I mean, I think from my notes I had, it was a quick match. I had that double team finisher. I really enjoyed that. That was actually a really cool finisher. If they can continue that as like their team finisher, I would be okay with that, just because it looked real clean. It played to the whole like, hey, we're both strong. The DDT into the monkey flip into the suplex. Like, that was actually really cool. But yeah, it would have been a lot cleaner had Jade been the legal person in the ring, because then she could have just because she was right there, she could have just like kipped up and hit the pin real quick. But instead Bianca's like, oh crap, I'm tagged in. Woof. Just yeets her out the way.
Yeah, it's like, out of the way. Like, pushed her out while she was trying to get the style points for jumping back to her feet, and she's like shoved her. But it's like, all right. Yeah, I mean,
it's all good. The crowd enjoyed it. It was fun. So it was a good little decent appetizer, I guess you could say, to lead into the next match, which was the Women's World Championship match of Becky and Liv Morgan. So
take us into that one, Big D.
yeah, so that one was pretty interesting. Of course, you had both of them come out. Becky Lynch, her outfit kind of reminded me of like a Clockwork Orange. I don't know if I'm giving
Well,
my age here.
I was like, well, when I saw it, the first thing I thought was, yeah, she's dressed like she's going to prom. Like all these different things were going through my head. I'm like,
Yeah.
she looks like she's wearing the tuxedo. She looks like she's ready for like going on Broadway.
Yeah.
She looks like she's dressed like George Washington. Her
Yeah.
choice of outfit really actually was distracting for me at one point.
Well, it kind of plays into like
cool,
the man, right? Like she wears like a suit, it's like a tux, right? So the
yeah,
man.
she's got the
But-
power pantsuit. She's
Yeah.
She looks like Hillary Clinton running around out there.
And she wrestled in it. That was interesting. I thought
she
maybe
wrestled?
I thought maybe it was like one of those things where like it's like a coat or something, and then she has like her long sleeves. I know they have to wear like a full body suit in Saudi. I get it, and I know that's necessary, but I thought there was more to it. But it kind of, for me, it reminded me more of like the movie Clockwork Orange. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and watch it. If you're not into that kind of stuff,
Not for
sorry,
kids,
not
though.
sorry.
Don't,
let your
don't
kid
watch it.
that.
Don't watch it with kids. I'm gonna put it that way.
But anywho, she came out and Liv
Yeah.
came out, of course, and then they were having a pretty decent match. There was some good back and forth. Liv actually was looking pretty strong, looking as a viable competitor for the title. And then all of a sudden, Dom comes out in his arm sling, and you're kind of wondering like, what the hell is Dom doing here? And so here's, I'm gonna kind of put my conspiracy hat on, right? But here's where it got kind of weird because the commentators were like, "What's Dom doing here? Oh, this guy, this idiot, whatever." Of course, paid into it. The fans start booing, all that stuff. But then you wonder, like, who is he helping, right? Because they're like, "Oh, well, he's gonna help." The commentators are like, "Hey, he's gonna help Becky because of what Liv did to Rhea." But what ensued was he grabbed a chair and threw it in the ring to Becky, who did not use it. He went up to distract so she could use it, but she didn't use it. And instead, Liv capitalized, hit a DDT on the chair, kicked the chair out, then hit the Oblivion for the win. And Dom looked like all shocked. My theory is him and Liv have been in cahoots this whole time, so she could take out Rhea. And he essentially was going to help Liv. That was the purpose and intent of him interfering. That would kind of be like the swerve, I guess, to try and like throw people off of, because I mean, Becky is, when she's a heel, she's a full on heel. But when she's face like she is right now, there's no way she's using tactics like that. She's not going to use the chair, and clearly she didn't, and it ended up costing her.
Yeah.
And of course, now we have a new World Women's Champion, which you and I both called. I have the spreadsheet up right here. We called that Liv won. She should have had it, but again, like we said, if this was going to be the thing all along, why not have her just win the Battle Royal to begin with? However, now with this added twist, I'm thinking to myself, that's probably what they wanted. They probably wanted to buy some time, let him help her win, and slowly start sowing the seeds of like they were really together on it the whole time, so that maybe she like seduced him or something to like help her out to get the title off of Rhea, and he knew she couldn't beat her head on, so this is the way to do it. But who knows? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think that exact same thing, because when I watched it, the first thing that I thought was, okay, why is he out here? And then I thought back to a couple of weeks ago on, I think it was a couple of weeks ago on Raw, where they had she runs into Dominic backstage, and they just had them face off for a second, and then it went to commercial, and then they never followed up on it again.
No.
And I was like, okay. And then the other thing that they have hinted, which it was one of the Judgment Day segments, I think it was a week ago, where they're very casually, they're like, "Hey, is everything okay with you and Rhea?" Like I think it was JD was saying it to Dom, and he goes, "Are you, mommy, okay? Like, what's going on?" He's like, "Yeah, we're fine." And so they've dropped little subtle hints that there's problems between Dom and Rhea, and so this, when I saw it, I was like, "Okay, he's here to help Liv." And so when he didn't, then I was still like, they kind of made it passive. Like, he's sliding the chair to Becky, but he probably knows she won't use it. His reaction was a little strange, even after it was all done. It was kind of like, not so
Like
much
was
like,
I gotta be shocked.
I can't believe what I did. Like, I'm trying to be surprised, but I'm not really surprised. But
sowing the seeds.
Was this a good idea to do this? Are they going to figure this out? So I agree. I think that makes the most sense. So if they want to take this feud and move it forward, for SummerSlam potentially, and have Rhea back by then, and have it build to
Yeah.
not only are they fighting, they're fighting for custody of Dom. This is
It's all over. It's the '90s all over again, man.
that's what I'm saying.
All we need for her
They're
is to come out as
this will
Eddie
be this will be
Guerrero.
the second custody of Dom match that we're gonna have in the WWE.
Except
Never
this
thought I'd
one's
be
for the
saying
custody
that.
of Dom's heart.
Dom's heart. Dun dun dun. And I can't wait to see it. I absolutely hope that happens. But yeah, and I agree too that if you were just going to put, which is what we said this before, so yes, I'm still going to say it again. If you were going to just throw the title on Liv a month later with like very little build up to it, just let her have won the women's battle royale. But either way, Liv Morgan's your champion. She should be.
Yeah,
I'm
and it was a
happy
good
with
match.
that.
I was happy with the match, and I was
Yeah,
happy
it's
with
good.
the title change because I feel like Liv deserves it. I think she's a great worker. I think her mic skills aren't as strong. I think she still kind of struggles with that, but it's okay. She makes up for it in the ring, and she's actually improved dramatically since her first go at it solo. I remember the first time she tried going solo, nobody took her serious, and that they put the title on her way too early, and nobody could take her serious as a champ. But I think now we could totally see that. So I mean, good for her. I'm happy for Liv. That's awesome. So I'm curious to see what happens. Please WWE. Not that anybody from there listens to us, but if they did,
they do every week.
if they did, then I would really hope for it to be more of like the night before, or like maybe like before SummerSlam, they're gonna have a wedding on Raw or SmackDown. And Rhea interrupts it when they say, "Is there anybody who wants to speak now?" And then Rhea's music hits, and yeah, that'd be great.
She's like, "Mommy objects."
She comes down and just obliterates her.
There's some comedy gold that
there's so
you could
much.
absolutely do with
But
some of this.
we'll see
stuff.
what happens.
I hope they do. I don't know. I've been disappointed before. And after this was the triple threat for the IC title. This one was fun. I enjoyed it. Like there was a lot of good spots in it as well. It was Bronson Reed, Chad Gable, and of course Sami Zayn. This one went pretty much almost exactly as I expected it was going to go. You had a lot of great back and forth, the good spots. The superplex on both Chad Gable and Sami
Tower
Zayn
of Doom.
by Bronson Reed. The Tower of Doom thing, it was really, really cool.
Was.
The Blue Thunderbomb from Sammy to Bronson Reed, which was really cool. So lots of really good stuff. Essentially, we did have, it was not the official Otis turn, but you knew Otis kept being baited into, hey, you need to interfere, you need to do this, you need to help me, you need to help me. And then he sets him up and he accidentally clotheslined Chad Gable when he was going for Sammy, which when I first saw it, I was like, oh, that wasn't an accident. But then they kind of tried to make it look like, oh,
Like Sammy just like slid out the way just in
clothesline.
time. Yeah.
And Sammy slid out the way because he really just went for it. And then
That was
about it afterwards.
full on APA style
Yeah.
clothesline. That was a Bradshaw
He just
clothesline.
absolutely obliterated him, and so that took Chad Gable out, and then Sammy hit the hell of a kick for a win, or Haluva. It's hell of
Haluva.
but Haluva, but he hit the hell of a kick for a win, and that was it. So Sammy won. Pretty predictably so.
For me, I was torn to try and pick a match of the night. I feel this was up there just because of the back and forth. And I really, I was very entertained in this match. I know we called it. I knew we knew Sami Zayn was going to walk away with this one. And that's cool. But I think the bigger piece is the storytelling within it, right? I'm a big story guy. And I love that, the whole how Otis leading up to it was so like he wasn't sure. He was kind of disheartened. He didn't want to, he wanted to because of Chad, but then he didn't because he respects Sammy. And you could see the hesitation a lot in his eyes. And then what was good and that I enjoyed that they did, because this is going to make for post PLE content, is while Sammy was celebrating in the ring, you could still see the camera on the bottom pointing. There's a cameraman on Otis and Chad's still like right here, like giving him the evil eye and like just aggressively panting because he's like so mad, he's seething, and Otis is just looking straight, like he can't look him in the eye, so he's like looking straight, and then usually at some point he's trying to like talk, you see his hands move, all while Sammy is in the ring celebrating. So I feel there's gonna be more to that. I think they recorded that for a reason, and the angle was like that for a reason, and I hope it leads to like a nice feud maybe a nice build to maybe even SummerSlam. Because now you're only about 3 months out, less than 3 months, so like 2.5 months out. So that's enough time to kind of have Otis apologize and then try to like grovel back, but then still kind of make his turn and take Alpha Academy with him. And I think it'd be good to see. I think it lines up a lot of story like that. Now, as to who's next for Sammy, I don't know. Maybe it's Jay. Maybe it's, I don't know. I have no idea at this point. It's anybody's guess, and I'm curious to see what they do on Monday night. So,
yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, this for me was probably my match of the night. Like
Yeah,
I was a little
me
torn
too.
on this one, but
I
think
was
got
until the
I think
ending
I
of the
would
other
give this
match.
one.
Yeah, I agree. But then after that, apparently they go backstage with Byron Saxton. So mind you, this is already what? So it was the women's championship, then the triple threat, and then they went back. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, then they had Nia Jax versus Lyra Valkyria for the Queen of the
Lyra
Ring final,
Valkyria. Yeah. Queen of-
which was also a pretty good match. I was surprised. I was worried they're gonna let Nia squash the NXT girl, but she did her thing. Lyra held her own, showed up strong. A lot of good offense against Nia, and even though you kind of, I think I don't know who directed or who wrote this match, but whoever did deserves a raise because they made Nia look competent in the ring. There's a lot of build up from Lyra, like where she's like start laying into her with offense, and then like one big one big move, boom, breaks that series.
Yeah.
And then they get then Nia Jax goes kind of big more on the offensive, and then again Lyra comes back again, and then just at the right time, boom, another big move from Nia to kind of put her away. So I like that build, and then they put her, then they build, then they put her. It kind of helped a lot because it made Lyra look strong. It helped her so that she doesn't look like a chump. She still looks like a viable competitor against anybody that she goes up against in the WWE roster, which I'm very happy for because that is what you want to see with your younger talent. And then after that, when she was trying so hard to get that sunset power bomb off the turnbuckle, she had Nia on the second rope, and I actually liked that finish because Nia was like, to me, it's like, and I know this probably isn't the way they thought of it, but in my head, I see it as Nia's like, man, I can't get rid of her. She is just so like constantly at me, so she just like drops, boom, annihilator, done, and then she wins. I think that was a good way to end it. I don't feel the match dragged at all. I think it was a decent timed match, and Nia Jax is your Queen of the Ring. Again, we were both rooting for Bianca Belair, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, she didn't make it. But yeah, I was like, Nia Jax is Queen of the Ring. Boo. But it was a good match. The match itself was really good, and I did enjoy the pace of it was good. I thought that kind of Lyra Valkyria doing the whole, like, she's the plucky underdog, and she's been kind of defying the odds the whole time. They would interview her after every one of her matches, and she's like, hey, if you believe in yourself and you work hard, like, good things will happen. And so it's like she rode that wave all the way in, and then Nia Jax was just too much for her. And she's still doing really well. And I like that she did look strong, but that's where it was the inexperience of, really, you're fighting for this sunset flip power bomb, and like, if you were used to Nia Jax, you should know her finisher's the Annihilator. She's already in position for it, just to let it go. But she wouldn't do it, and then Nia just wisely dropped her, and it looked just brutal.
It did.
Like,
It
I was
looked
thinking,
vicious.
she really did annihilate her. But it was like full force down to the ground. It looked absolutely bad. She was like, she destroyed her. And I like that way that it finished too, because it was like, okay, this makes sense. She just looks like, hey, rookie mistake. Like, you shouldn't have done that. You were doing really well up until that point. So I thought it was a good match. I'm just like, I don't want to hear Nia walking around going, I'm Queen of the Ring for like 6 months. I don't want to hear that, but I guess we'll be hearing that plenty. Yeah, it's perks of the job.
But one thing I wanted to note after this match, so this was my gripe. So you had the Women's World Championship match, then you had the Triple Threat match, and then you had the Women Queen of the Ring match. And all of a sudden, it cuts to Byron Saxton, who's in Gorilla, like the ramp leading to Gorilla, and Becky Lynch is apparently still there yelling at Dom. Like, has she been there for like 30, 40 minutes just yelling at him the entire time? And then they're just like, oh, crap, there's somebody back here. Like, people, you think about it, though. Like, you're talking about, like, people were, if that was the case, then that means that Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, Bronson Reed,
Yeah,
Nia
Bronson
Jax,
Reed.
Laya Valkyria, they all like pass by
And
as she
all walk
awkwardly
past
as
him.
she's like screaming at him. Like I'm like, okay, guys, come on. They've been there this whole time. Like I just thought that was goofy, but and she didn't even say
Yeah.
anything. So I'm just like, that was just a waste. But sorry, I had to make that comment.
It is no, yeah. That's why it's like you got to think of the context of. Wait a second, like how long has that been going on? If you're catching it now, unless they both just happen to bump into each other gorilla right now, which is not the case.
No.
That's pretty funny though.
Yeah.
And then after this was Gunther versus Randy Orton. So this one, I should have stuck with my original pick. Obviously, I think you and I both at the beginning said Gunther should win the King of the Ring, which Gunther won the King of the Ring. Spoiler alert. I really, really enjoyed this match. This is the one that I was kind of debating as far as the match of the night.
Too.
I was kind of like, but the pace was great. It was more of a had it started out with a slower, more methodical pace.
Yeah, more rest
which
holds.
was really good, and it suited both of their styles really well. Obviously, it suited Randy Orton really well at his age, and then I was a little bit surprised with how strong Gunther looked in this. And maybe I shouldn't have been because when Randy Orton's in there, you always kind of expect Randy Orton's going to win. It was interesting as it moved on. You had Gunther take 2 RKOs. He got RKO the first time, and then he was down for a little bit. And when Randy was trying to get there, he did his roll out of the ring and escape. And the finish was really interesting on this one too because he got hit with the RKO out of nowhere. And then immediately kicked out, and then rolled over into a pin and pinned Randy Orton. Like it surprised me when it happened, where I was like, "Wait a second, he won!" And I was kind of like, "Oh, he started." I was like, "Oh, he got his shoulder up," and then he kind of backslid him, rolled him up, and then pinned him. And it absolutely surprised me. Throughout the match, Gunther was targeting the knee. We talked about is the knee injury going to reoccur and show up? Of course, it did.
Right.
But I thought that this made Gunther look really strong. It did make him look like a main event player. It made him look like an actual threat for a world title and a serious contender for. I think there's certain matches when you always see the guys that are kind of mid tier that you never expect to be in a world title match. And then you got to break up into that next level where you're kind of always expected to be in competition for it. And you're like a Randy Orton or an AJ Styles. I really felt like Gunther had his moment here where it was like, okay, you're kind of elevated from that IC title, from that mid-card titles into the world picture. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. And good for Gunther. He's your King of the Ring.
Yeah, no, and I agree. I think Gunther looked very strong. Randy did not look weak at all. I mean, his chest was battered and bruised. Those chops were vicious. Oh, my God. But this was the one I was debating on. This would have been my match of the night just because I really enjoyed how they played off of each other so well. Gunther being the ring general, rolling out of the ring wisely, knowing that he's near the edge after getting RKO to just roll out so he doesn't get pinned. Things like that I thought were really good. The aggressiveness was great. Everything was good until the finish. And I did not like the roll up. Well, not just that. If you look back at it, Randy's shoulder was up. Only one shoulder was down.
Yeah.
And they try to show a different angle from behind, and you could still clearly see his shoulders up by like 3-4 inches. And it's like not even like it was really up there. And even Corey Graves kind of said like we may have to take a look at that, but it was already too late. I wanted Gunther to win. I just wish it was a little bit more cleaner than that because it just looks sloppy. Because even the ref hesitated in his count, and I think that's why. Because it was in front of the ref. Like Randy's shoulder was up. I don't know if I know Randy has had mobility issues with his shoulder before, so I don't know if maybe that had something to do with it. Or just it was just or maybe it was just a simple thing of like too much leverage on one side. It just happened. It's a shame, but that kind of like fizzled the match for me, unfortunately. But still a good match. I still enjoyed it. I'm very happy that Gunther's King of the Ring. I can't wait to hear the promos of him. See, unlike the Queen of the Ring, I'm excited for the promos for the King of the Ring.
These will be good promos. They will not be completely grating promos. And we did actually have 2 heels win. King and Queen of the Ring as well. So but looking forward to that and well deserved for Gunther. He even got the "You deserve it" chant during his speech a little bit from the crowd, which was interesting to see that happen to a heel. So that was really neat as well.
Yeah, Gunther's just awesome. So I'm excited to see what happens. But after that was your favorite Logan Paul against Cody
Main event
Rhodes for
time.
the title.
Take us through this one.
You
Got
mean
all
the
interesting
brass knuckle
feelings on
botch
this one
fest?
too. Yeah, it
So of
was.
course they all they're talking about is how he turned in his brass knucks, and then they patted him down on SmackDown the night last night, and they found some, and he's like, "Oh, I was wearing my brother pants." That sounds stupid, but okay, it's
Yeah,
Logan Paul. I've come to expect stupid stuff out of his mouth, but there's a lot of I will give credit where credit's due. Athletically, it was like move for move, it was good. You had a
well
lot of
wrestled.
good
Yeah,
spots. Yeah, you had a lot of good spots. It was a very well wrestled match. Cody can put anybody over, and it showed. Logan Paul is a good wrestler. We've said that before. We've given him his credit. Yeah, the guy can wrestle, and that's good. Because it helps because they had a lot of back and forth. They had a lot of of course the big frog splash off the top turnbuckle onto the announce table was obviously good. Cody Cutter on the announce table.
yeah.
It was like a straight out brawl. It seemed like because Cody was this is where we're starting to see the more aggressive side of Cody, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And it came out, and he did. He was a lot more aggressive. Multiple attempts at the brass knuckles. First, one of the guys in a prime shirt gives the brass knuckles to him, and then I actually kind of enjoyed watching Michael Cole mouth off to him, and then
Yeah.
he goes to get in like Michael Cole's face, and Corey Graves stands up and like right away is like, "Nah, man, get out of
Yeah,
here."
he like pulls the headset off and he's like, no, no, no. And
Yeah.
that was my favorite part of the whole match
Yeah.
because I was thinking Corey just hit him. Like,
Yeah.
that's where I was
Yes,
like, man, I
'cause
hope Corey
Corey-
starts going after him.
For people who don't know, Corey Graves actually started as a wrestler, and he was a damn good one
Yeah.
too. And he was great. Unfortunately, he had an injury, and he couldn't wrestle. And Vince liked his charisma so much, he offered him a job as a commentator, and that's why we have Corey Graves as a commentator, and he does amazing. He's a great speaker. He can talk better than most folks in the ring now. And I'm like, I put a little note. I'm like, man, if only he could be cleared to wrestle, I would love to see that be the feud
Yeah.
of like him and Logan Paul, and him be like, look, man, you're getting a little in over your bridge, like because they could play the whole like Corey Graves is so sick and tired of seeing him just be given stuff, and he had to fight his way and almost couldn't even be in wrestling anymore, but found a way, but
Yeah.
I doubt it. It's just my thing. But lots of heel tactics, all the heel tactics, low blows. And then I think I think it was the final attempt at the brass knuckle usage. You had the guest commentator. He, grabbed the leg of Logan Paul and
Grabbed his leg. Yeah.
yeah, he stopped him, and then he kicked him, and then Cody was able to hit the triple crossroads for the win, and of course retaining his championship as we knew he would. I mean, he was not going to lose his title to Logan Paul, so thank God for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was again overall, it was a fun match to watch. It was nice to see Cody's aggressive side come out, and it was good to see it. It's just so annoying with the brass knuckle thing. I think it's like, just get a new gimmick already. Like, just, and then I think
Well-
Corey Graves said that I don't know why he uses brass knuckles. He has a steel plate in his right hand, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
see,
He's got a built-in brass knuckles. Like, well,
Yeah.
so, okay. So I was not a huge fan of this main event. And there's a few reasons. The first one was it kind of started out with a little bit of a slow pace, which I was like, these two should be pushing a little bit of a faster pace. And then it turned into, the early part of the match turned into like this one-sided domination with Logan Paul like beating Cody Rhodes to the punch on everything and countering out of everything. And I was like, wait, so he's completely scouted Cody and he's like making him look like a fool. And so there was a long stretch there at the beginning where it was like, he got ahead of this. Oh, he got ahead of that maneuver when he did the drop down to the splits and then, or the drop down to his back to try to punch. And then he caught his hand and it was like, I'm one step ahead of you. And it's like, okay, you're showing, and I felt like they did this whole thing to try to be like, look, Logan Paul's really great, everyone. Like, look, some guys, it takes years. He's got it all figured out. Cody Rhodes wrestling forever. He's got him completely figured out. Hey, everybody, Logan Paul is really awesome. And it was like they were selling Logan Paul being great too much.
They were.
And so they tried to make Logan Paul look really strong the whole time. And so there was a point where I was like, rather than elevating Logan Paul, which I think they were attempting to do, for me, they were kind of burying Cody a little bit because I was like, you're bringing Cody down. You're making it look like,
That's
how is he
your
getting
champ.
so outsmarted and beat to the punch? He's the world champ, and Logan Paul's making it look silly. And then when he does this pivot to now all of a sudden becoming obsessed with the brass, I was like, dude, you were kind of running Cody out of town a little bit before that. Why now all of a sudden you desperately have to get brass knuckles in? So that was like, okay, well now you're trying to do the heel tactic too much. You're trying to get him make it look like he's afraid of Cody Rhodes when he shouldn't be because he's been beating him the whole time.
Right.
And then Cody is so great he had to be saved by the guest announcer. So this is where I was like, you're about to lose, and it's not because just because Logan Paul is cheating and they had the referee get knocked out. They had too much stuff happening. There was just too much stuff getting thrown at this, and then the special guest ring announcer grabs his leg, and it was like, yay, he helped him, awesome. I was like, really, Cody needed help from the announcer to be able to retain his title. And then he had to hit 3 crossroads. He's not Roman Reigns. You had to hit 3 crossroads to put him away. Like, there was too much, like, we've got to make Logan look really, really strong here if he's going to lose. And we'll still have him do the heel stuff. And we're going to also on commentary preach the whole time about how this guy's really great, everybody. And it was a little too much hammered home for me that I didn't enjoy it. And then I was bummed because we didn't get the Wyatt 6. Because I was like, I was waiting, and then it was like, it ended 10 minutes early. I was like, this is supposed to be over. Like, I'm like, there's time. Like, this is going to be great. Something's going to happen. And so I was waiting, and then Michael Cole was like, good night from Jeddah, everyone. And then
and they showed like the recap, package. And I was like, damn it.
And I was like, I'm like, you had me there for a second. I thought we were going to get it. I was like, no, you guys just finished early. And you're like, all right, we're done. We'll peace out. So all of that cumulatively upset me at the end.
I mean,
where we didn't get the Wyatt 6, and then I was just like, you tried to make Logan Paul look too competent, and you made Cody look a little incompetent. So I was just like not happy.
I agree. It was it was disappointing because I feel like any of Cody's title matches are gonna have to be ended with 3 consecutive crossroads. Like, because like any other match he does, 1 crossroad or even a Cody cutter ends the match. But for some reason, whenever they face him for the title, they take the Mario Mushroom and he has to like hit 3 in a row to like, put him away. And I'm just like, dude,
gotta do it.
I know, because I hate when people make finishers look weak. It's just, if that's your finisher, like that's your finisher, like that's it. That's why it's called the finisher. And if it's not like devastating enough, then let's create a new one. Honestly, for me personally, Cody Cutter's a damn fine finisher because it's athletic. It can be hit out of anywhere, just like Randy. But I think because of Randy Orton, they don't want to make it look like it's the same thing, which essentially it is. But it's just a springboard.
But the RKO looks better though.
Because Randy makes it look good.
The RKO looks better and Randy makes it look fantastic, which is also why I was surprised that Gunther kicked out of it so easily when he got the pin at the end.
Well, they played it off on his knee that he couldn't like plant his other leg to get the leverage in for the pin,
to get the full RKO experience. But I was also like, people never kick out of the RKO. Like it rarely happens. So that was it. That was King and Queen of the Ring. There's too many it's too much enunciation there. King and Queen of the Ring from Jeddah is all done, and we'll see how all of this transpires on Monday night. I'm presuming we're going to get more Liv Morgan and Dominic shenanigans. We'll see how that one pans out. And it'll be interesting to see if maybe we'll get the Wyatt 6. Are you guys going to show up?
I think
on
if
Monday,
they do,
maybe?
I'm hoping it's for SmackDown because I would love to see them. I'd love to see the first feud be with Cody, but I don't think they would, just because he's a world champion, or he's a universal champion, so it'll more than likely be somebody else.
And we're also getting Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest at Clash of the Castle. That was the other announcement. I totally forgot to mention it. Triple H threw it out there, which is pretty obvious. It's
something tells me that Drew's going to win that in Glasgow, his hometown, like his birth town.
Yeah,
he's gonna win that.
It would be pretty brutal if they put him out there and have him lose Damian Priest.
He's going to win that, and then CM Punk's going to goad him into a championship match at SummerSlam, and then CM Punk's going to take the title off of him. So,
that makes logical sense. So, stay tuned. Although sometimes when it makes logical sense, it still doesn't happen. But we'll never.
True.
All we can do is watch. We'll see how it goes.
I'll take the odds. My batting average ain't too bad, so we'll be all right.
My batting average is terrible on this one. So stick with your gut. That's what I'm saying. Don't change your pick. I always tell people that. Look, if you make a choice, don't change it. And I changed it, and that was a terrible thing to do.
Yeah.
But that's it. Queen of the Ring in the books. So we appreciate it. This is a short one, but we'll be back next week with more Raw and SmackDown shenanigans. I've been Michael D'Angelo. He's been Big D. Daryl Ortiz. We'll see you all next time. Till then, have a great weekend, everybody. So long.
See ya.